republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Starting now, we're going to go to our budget hearing. And just so you get the computer set up.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. To the people out there on the internet, thank you for watching. People in attendance, thank you for coming. So, just a little timeline. Our budget, first budget we presented to the community, it did not pass. We needed a supermajority of 60% of the vote to pass that budget. And that is because our tax cap this year was 1.6. So there was no way at 1.6 that we could balance this budget. We went in at 15%, the community said no. We listened, we heard what, that was too much. So we went back to the drawing board, and what we did was we dropped the tax levy from 15 to 9%. With that was several more reductions across the district. Same first couple of slides, email questions. As people have questions, we greatly want you to email us. Call us, email us, we will get back. I've answered a ton of emails since the first budget vote. I get back to the community relatively quickly, and they're in detail. Because I think what happens is the misconception goes across and spreads like wildfire through social media and things like that. Your Board of Education members, they're around this table, all play an active role in all of this. Superintendent, myself, Jeremy Seddon, you have Kelly Crossett, business manager, and then you have Mrs. Daphne Randall, who's the confidential secretary and district clerk. Develop a budget, our theme was to develop a budget that now is to reduce the tax burden to the community, maintain programs and opportunities for our children here at West Canada, and manage the fiscal times both in the short and long term. We don't have a crystal ball, but what we can do is constantly restructure to make sure that we have adequate staff for the number of students. Budget process. We start the process back in December. It goes from December to April. We have 5 meetings. I urge community members next year to attend those meetings. Give us your input. Also, then we have administrative meetings in-house, discussing staffing, discussing programming, discussing everything in-house that we have control of.
How often does that happen?
Those meetings can go weekly, a couple times a month, but over the course, we were meeting about every week to determine that. Department meetings, principals meet with departments, grades to discuss resources, alignments, enrollment, and BOCES services. And then the final step is on April 20th when we adopt the budget. That budget was rejected. So now the budget revote process. Discussions were held following the defeat of the internal budget. Modifications were made with the initial budget to reduce the tax levy from 15 to 9%. For every 1% we decreased the tax levy, we had to find approximately $55,000 in savings. So for every $55,000, we can reduce it by 1%. Board meeting. The modified budget was discussed at a special board meeting on May 26th. The revised budget still requires a supermajority of 60% of the voters. That is crucial. We need 60% to pass this budget. And then the final steps, taking the budget to the press and to the voters. The board adopted the revised budget on our special board meeting on May 26th. We had great turnout in the last 2 meetings from community members. They spoke. We thank you. Budget components, administrative, capital, and programs. The majority of the spending should and always will be under programs. That's what we're here for our children. Administrative is the Board of Ed, superintendent, principals, business officials, staff, main office, secretary, tax collector, claims auditor, BOCES administrative and capital project cost, and legal service. Capital, operations, maintenance, building and grounds, utilities, and debt service. And then programs, K-12 instruction, transportation, programs through BOCES, guidance, health services, special education, and athletics and extracurriculars. We start with administrative. Overall, 4.67% increase, and you think an increase in admin. It came from the BOCES admin cost and their capital project that we currently are funding as part of one of 10 component districts of Herkimer BOCES. There are 3 payments left on this capital project. Next year's payment to BOCES is $777,000, followed by a $700,000 payment, followed by $150,000. BOCES cannot go get bonded for capital projects. This was a vote that took place, I want to say, in 2023 to allow BOCES to upgrade their facilities that had not been updated. We aren't alone. All 10 component districts in the Herkimer BOCES are paying a portion of this capital project. We actually saw a decrease in $58,000 from the administrative side of the budget, and a lot of that came from salary freezes and reduction in work hours.
Can you go back 1 slide?
Yes.
I'd like to make it perfectly clear, you have to, under administration, Board of Education expenses incurred by board members for travel and conferences. I'd like to make it perfectly clear to everybody and anybody that we don't get paid for anything. It's been brought up that we get paid for things, we don't get paid for anything.
I'll handle all those at the end. I got a section at the end.
Thank you.
Yep. Administrative overall increase, like I said, here is where the spending goes. One thing I heard in many of the community was, we want to see what a contingent budget would look like. So what we did was we put the 2025-26, this year's budget, proposed, and if it had to go to contingency, what it would entail. So everybody can see it up here. Also, we changed fringe benefits. We don't get memberships to country clubs. Yep, I know. That was one of the things, was what is fringe benefits? When you look at the next slide, they're employee benefits. It's TRS, ERS, it's Social Security, it's workers' comp, it's all the things that a typical $46,000 job here, if they take the insurance and everything, that becomes $91,000 when it's all said and done. So just because a teacher makes 46, the health care is a $30,000, yes, they do pay 15%. TRS and ERS, the district has to pay Social Security and workers' comp. These are all tacked on, so that $46,000 position is much higher when it comes on the books. Again, present, proposed, and what could happen if we have to go to a contingency. Capital, we saw a decrease in $281,421. Again, some of this decrease came from reduction in working staff, cutting back on supplies and maintenance, equipment purchases. We're looking also the healthcare, health insurance, and retirement contributions. These will decline as positions are removed. As you remove positions, you see a deduction in the healthcare premiums and retirement contributions. on average, the district pays $400,000 a month in healthcare premiums for all their employees. And that's a big scare to me, because that is negotiated, but we all see that healthcare, the health industry, it's not going down in cost. They tack on between 8 and 12% every year, no questions asked. We're in a consortium right now with Herkimer BOCES. There are many districts. It shares the risk, but also it's not there's no insurance that's stable. Insurance is a big business, and it's taking control of what we have to spend year in and year out. Some of the deductions, as you can see, we saw a reduction in central service. We saw a deduction in employee benefits. That was due to a reduction in staff. Debt service, we did have a project come off the books from years ago, so we saw savings in debt service. So we went from 4104, 490 this year to 3820, 988 next year, and it would be the same under a contingency. Program, overall the decrease 6.11%, or $955,000. This was due to the reduction in staff, not only in TAs. One of the comments was, I look and you guys have 20 teacher assistants. We do not. We've seen a reduction every year. Our TAs, teacher assistants and teacher aides, are based on the needs of our students, whether it's special education or our younger grades like pre-K. Pre-K has a mandatory, if you have over 18 students, you need 2 TAs in each classroom. And that is a mandate from New York State. If you keep it under 18, you need 1. But our pre-K is, we have a grant for pre-K that helps offset those costs. Here you can see where the deduction, and again, you start to see a slight reduction in programs for students with disabilities. With that being said, if you look at contingency, that goes up about $60,000. The rationale behind that is we get a student that comes into our district that needs a placement. We have to be able to pay for that. These placements at BOCES are not cheap. Okay, sorry. There's placements range from anywhere from $45,000 to $100,000. And under New York State, we must educate everybody. And if you're special ed or you're special needs, it's till the age of 22. And that is an unfunded mandate that we must abide by in New York State. And it's actually the day before your 22nd birthday. So 21 and 364. So, again, you can see a huge deduction. Sorry, wrong slide. Pupil services, you've seen a reduction. If we go to contingency, we have to go even deeper. Transportation, we've seen a reduction. We've had 2 bus drivers that have left and we aren't replacing. And again, a lot of that employee benefits. Last year it was 15,636, 614. This year it's down to 14,680. And we would have to find approximately about 500,000 more if this budget's voted down.
That means staff.
That would be staffing, extracurriculars, athletics. Athletics and transportation and extracurriculars come in at a tune of over $400,000 to the district. That's without transportation added on. It is not cheap, all the programs that we offer our students. 25-26, we saw a budget of 22,826.16. We've reduced that budget by almost $1.1 million in 1 year. We're a small rural school. That hits hard. It's the needs and wants. And that's something we have to stay extremely focused on. We need the needs, the wants need to be put on the back burner. but we saw a reduction in a negative 4.8% decrease. Where today do you see a decrease in anything? That's the reality. Budget summary. So we went from 4.24% last year. We've seen a reduction in 4.8%. If we have to go to contingency, that deduction or reduction becomes 6.99%. It goes deeper. Uncontrollable costs. Special education, retirement system cost. Prime example of retirement system cost. We all saw that they have a budget at New York State. One of the talking points was tier 6 of the retirement. That is going to cost districts, which is unfunded. We will have to make up those costs. Health insurance costs continue to rise on average 8 to 12% a year. Utilities are climbing astronomically at 33%. We were told to budget an increase in 33% in our electric for next year. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we can get the fuel back down. Because every time that fuel truck pulls out, it's painful for the district, just like your house. It costs us anywhere between $25,000 and $30,000 every time that fuel truck's out front. And then we have contractual obligations. Those are contracts. We currently have 3 unions here at West Canada. We have the teachers, the administrators, and CSEA. Summary of the expenditures. 14,680, 780 go toward programs, and it needs to. We have about 3.2 million that goes toward administration and 3.8 that go to capital. Project revenues. I've had some questions about the pilot program. I'm working on trying to find out information on this. This is where all our revenues are. We are dependent on state aid. The positive this year was after the first budget presentation, we get news the governor went from 1% to 2%. That brought in an extra $84,000, which helped us drop the tax levy by 1.5 points. We also, so this is a pie chart of where the money comes from, 64.41%. State aid, our tax levy is 27.89%. Others, and then fund balance.
Can you go back to the previous one again?
Yes.
What other information do you need on the pilot program?
The pilot program is going to eventually run out. We want to know what the mindset is moving forward. It will help us with our strategic plan down the road.
Without that money? Without that money,
because that's going to be a huge hit of $360,000 that comes off our books if they aren't going to redo the pilot, and we're working on trying to figure this out. Tax rate versus tax levy. The cost per 1,000 assessed value of home property, projected tax rate on true. Tax rate on true would be if everybody's taxed the same. They aren't. Some people own a lot of land, some people own no land. All that comes into play when you're talking school taxes. You also, that's with a projected 9%. Total tax levy is the amount needed for the taxpayers to support the proposed budget. This amount is determined after all the sources of revenue are projected. We are asking for a 9%. That would generate $6,061,344. That would help us offset our budget. Again, this was a slide we used the last time, determining the tax levy, equalization property values using each town's equalization rates, determining each town's share of the levy, and then the tax rate is tax rate equals town shares versus of levy divided by total assessed value of town times 1,000. Life would be a lot easier if they taxed everybody equally across the board. It would be $11.91, because that is an issue with school taxes. At 9%, And this isn't projected at everybody. This is your standard house, whether you have a $2,500 school tax bill or a $3,000. I understand there's community members here that own a lot of land. And with that, these numbers, I can't predict that. But I wanted to put a slide because at one of our public meetings, it was, my taxes are going up 3,000, 1,000, 2,000, I heard it all. It was posted all over social media. That's not the case unless you're a big landowner, and I don't have that information.
Why are you looking at me?
I came prepared.
He is, Charlie is. Everyone looks at me.
I did my homework, so it is important to understand that 9% of tax levy increase does not automatically equal 9%. Last year's equalization rates had some towns in the 2s, and Norway was 11.87 equalization rate last year. So that hit hard in Norway. Tax levy, just break down from 2021, we were at 1688. Our tax on true has continued to drop until this year. And a lot of them that did it was the past, and we aren't here to talk about the past, we're here to talk about the future. What we're getting a quality rural school education for our children, where they're a name, not a number, where our teachers know siblings, they know parents. It's more true. I've worked in big, I've worked in small. I enjoy the small school setting because every kid has a story. And that's something at the bigger schools you don't have the chance to have those conversations. You walk around this building, you see smiles. You go out on the sports fields, you see kids wearing their team colors. We have a lot to be proud of our students here at West Canada. And they'll make it no matter where they are or what they set off to do, because they've shown that hard work gets them places. We also have strong academics. We have a high graduation rate. We have high Regents diploma rates. High school attendance rates continue to climb this year with new initiatives. We also have strong extracurricular. Our kids have opportunities here. We don't have the hustle bustle of a big city. We are all our children have as extra entertainment, whether it's playing on an athletic field or participating in one of the many clubs here at the school. We also offer AP in College Now. Kids have opportunities to be ahead. Maybe they'll get to college and have 30 credits and not have to take out an $80,000 loan for that first year. Because school bills, or college continues to rise too. When you see college tuition in the $80,000 and $90,000 a year, kids are $330,000 in debt before they have that diploma. And that's why we speak highly of our local community college, things like that, to get our students on the right path also. We have business, agriculture, strong special ed. Our kids get the support they need. We also have a high pass DOT rating at the bus garage, and Mr. Ray. Mr. Lynch does a fantastic job. You look around our school, it's clean. It's one of the cleanest schools I've been a part of, and that's what sold me pretty much on this job. You walk in, people take pride in this building. I go to schools all the time. Some of them you cringe. What we have had to reduce, one of the questions I was asked was, we need to see it. We need to see what we've lost. At a fixed 15% tax levy, we lost 2 TAs through layoffs. We lost 4 teaching assistants through attrition and vacant positions. We lost 2 teachers. We also lost 8 teachers through attrition. They had left over the last 2 years. We saw this coming in that aspect, and that's why those positions were not rehired. Because it's easier just through attrition than to tell somebody that they aren't employed next year. 1 bus driver through attrition, 1 building mechanic through attrition, a layoff, my bad, and 1 secretary through attrition. We also saw a reduction in American Sign Language at 9%. We've seen 2 TAs laid off, 4 TAs through attrition and vacant, 3 teacher layoffs, 8 teaching through attrition, 2 bus drivers through attrition, 1 building mechanic layoff, 1 secretary through attrition, salary freezes through with many of the administrative contracts, removal of a 5 p.m. bus run, and removal of American Sign Language. With that being said, we know that these 2 play a crucial role in our students' success. We have students that have taken 2 years of American Sign Language. They want the civic seal, or the seal of biliteracy. I'm working on other options to grant them that opportunity. They're in the early stages, same thing with a 5 o'clock bus run. We're looking at alternatives for the bus run. Maybe not 5 drivers, but what can we do to allow our students the opportunity? This might be their only opportunity to get home. So
Can
we're
you speak-
listening.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can you speak to that, what you're doing for American Sign Language, what you're
I've talked to
considering?
other district superintendents to see if there's a possibility that they could allow us for a fee to use them instead of BOCES. Right now, BOCES charges $30,000 as the standard fee and $15,000 per class. So if you have 6 students in 2 classes, you're looking at $60,000. When times are good, hey, you can do it, yes.
Have you looked at other schools to have them bring their students here for the sign language?
We have a problem because we use it outsourced right now as it is. You have districts around that have an American Sign Language teacher in-house, but because we use BOCES, that would be a challenge to do. Because right now, our American Sign Language is virtual through a screen. There's not an actual teacher, there's a TA that monitors, an aide that monitors the classroom, but we use BOCES for that service. We had an American Sign Language teacher years ago, and they took another job somewhere else. So we're looking at all these, and I've had conversations with other districts on, is there something we have that you might want? Or can we share services? Because eventually, that's what's going to happen sooner than later for all of us to be able to offer with a less impact on our community. Did I answer your question to the best of my
No,
ability?
I'm good.
Okay.
I read it over, and you've done a great job to do what you've done. But the thing I see coming at you next year is where you're gonna make up that $770,000 balloon payment. You're paying how much now to BOCES?
777 goes down to 700 next year, so we see a reduction in 77,000.
How much do we pay this year?
This year, we paid 633, I believe.
So you're still gonna have to pay more, so we're gonna have, so no matter how you slice it, we're gonna look at minimum, at least a 1% increase next year coming.
What do you
Even with
mean?
this contingency budget, or am I wrong? You paid 600-some thousand this year, you're gonna pay 700-some thousand next year.
Next year, we pay it, and then it drops 77, and then the following year, it drops down to 150
Right, but it's 55,000 is
for
one,
every percent.
right, so we're still gonna look at an extra % or 2 for next year's budget, just due to BOCES, is that?
That's fair to say,
Yes,
yes,
right.
but you also have incurring costs that come up every year. and-
Right, I'm not counting the other oddballs, I'm looking at, we know what's gonna happen.
Yep.
You have another 2% on top.
But those are the things that we need to look at continuously with restructuring, and we can't be afraid to think outside the box, and that's what, even having these phone conversations with other superintendents, eventually that's what it's gonna become. Because it takes 2 to dance, and we've seen it with Canjo and Fort Plain on numerous occasions. They just went to a straw vote for a second year that was defeated in both communities for a merger. And I'm hoping that through other areas, we don't ever have to get there. The reality is, at some point, it might have to be a conversation in the community. And I know that that's not what community members want to hear, because when you think of West Canada, you think of the school. When you think of Poland, you think of their school. Every small community, their central hub is the school district. But these are painful conversations, but they're realistic conversations that we're gonna have to look at all avenues. It's not gonna be easy for the next couple of years. I wish I could sit here and tell you it is, but every 5 to 7 years, schools seem to do this roller coaster, and then they get out of it, but then we have to stay out of it. That's where I have to work extremely hard at. So, yeah,
Bus. When we came last time, you were talking about you had to get 4 buses. Are you still going to look at getting 4 buses?
well, right now, that part did pass, and that would all play depending on whether we go to contingency or the 9% passes. We have 100% DOT pass rate because a lot of your buses, after the 5-year warranty, you end up spending more to replace those, and we get high
I just
aid back.
didn't see them, that's why I wondered.
Yeah, but the state also decided no electric buses for 5 years, so that's a positive. Yeah, no, we'll leave it at that. Now, if we were to go to a contingency, this is where we have to find about $500,000. It's everything you've seen at the 9%. The big things you will see is the extracurricular activities, the transportation costs, and the athletics.
Elaborate on transportation costs.
The extra trips that are associated with extracurricular and athletics. You're looking at about $100,000 in those runs yearly. Yes, Mr. Zeta.
Athletics, is it all athletics would be gone, or who gets to pick?
The reality is it has to be all or none. You start playing that game, you get into Title
So
IX.
everyone knows, just so everyone knows
Yep,
that.
it's all or none.
Right,
Yep. Thank you.
yep.
I spent 10.5 years as an athletic director. It pains me to say that, but our kids are here for an education. Those are all the toppings. But we have to educate our students. My hockey skills didn't get me this job. It was my academics. Okay. Are there unknowns? There's always going to be unknowns. We live in a rocky time. Elevated costs, the gas pump, our utilities. We're also looking at federal and state. We don't know day to day what the thought process is at either. You look at the federal education department, there's not much left. But we also have to abide by federal and state regulations. A lot of people are unaware that we spend a vast amount of our time dealing with unfunded mandates. That means they are put on us by the state or the federal government. We have to make sure, or else they hold that we abide by all of them, or they hold our funding. So they always will use that funding as, you will do as I say, or we take it back. Equipment or system failures. Listen, we had to close school 2 years in a row because of system failures. It's not we have great mechanic, we have great facilities director. We don't have inventory because some of these pumps are $6,000, $7,000. And when one goes, it could take 8 weeks because there's a lead time now. Mr. Lynch, there's lead times. They don't have things standard in the shops anymore. They had to send somebody to Syracuse to get a pump so we could have school that Tuesday after, or the Wednesday after Memorial Day.
Was your warranty claim approved?
Yeah, we're just waiting on it to come in, and I've been in contact with HJ Bradley's. They're gonna come and do the install.
No cost us.
No cost to us, no. It was put in 2023, 10-year warranty, parts and labor, so as soon as it comes in, I've been in contact with Bradley's, and they understand that right now I'm running on fuel oil, and I'd rather be running on propane, and the urgency is huge, and they understand that, so as soon as it's in, they'll be here.
But that goes with there's no inventory of any of these parts. Aging infrastructure, it's hard to get parts. What if the budget gets voted down? If the budget gets voted down a second time, the district must go to a contingency budget. We're given 2 opportunities. The third time says you have to go to a contingency. I am asking the community, please vote yes for this budget, because I've worked under contingency early on in my career. And kids do suffer. The field trips, the extracurriculars, the athletic, things that get our students in the building day in and day out will be removed because we have to concentrate on the academic side. What would a contingency budget look like? We would have to cut approximately $500,000 more across the district, reduction in programmed opportunities, reduction in extracurricular and athletics, additional staff reductions, larger class sizes, and less opportunities for the students of West Canada Valley. Rumors in the community. My taxes will go up 1,000 to 3,000. For most homeowners, the tax levy increase does not translate in a dollar for dollar increase. $1,000 to $3,000 on your tax bill. And when I say most, I don't know everybody's situation. I know I live in a house, I don't have much land, and I get my tax bill. West Canada will not, this is rumor, we will have kindergarten next year. Kindergarten is not mandatory, but it's essential in the development of our youth. It's a foundational building piece. It's like building a house without a solid foundation. What will happen? The walls will crack. And our kids need to be in school. It develops structure, they develop how to be social, emotional, how to interact. There's a lot of positives for our younger children. Next step, the budget revote, June 16th, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the high school lobby. We urge people to get out and please vote. Questions? After the last couple of meetings, anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?
I would just like to thank all of you for all your hard work to try to come up with a better plan.
Well, we thank you guys for coming to the meetings and expressing, I think it was important that we listen to the community. And I urge people next year, the next year or two, it could be tough here at the school. We urge people to come to those budget workshops. We want to hear it. We want to hear what some ideas are. I'll do the work to figure out if we can actually accomplish it, but, we have strict mandates what we can and can't do.
Will you be sending out when you're doing it, like in a newsletter?
We can post it, we can send it out in the newsletter. I know not everybody has social media, so we can look at other alternatives.
Yeah. And I don't have any kids in school, so.
But do you have social media or anything? A little bit?
Hello.
Keep it that way, it's a lot easier. But yes, we can work on making sure that we get it out.
I mean, we just send them to paper
Yeah.
and have the post office just throw them in the things.
Well, that's the hard part. When you go by the post office, when you see all the mailings, like we had to send out a second budget newsletter.
I know you did.
That's what, about $1,500 between the two?
Actual newsletter itself is $1,500 with the postage and the printing.
So we had to do that 2 times, and you walk by and they're all in the trash. So that's one thing, like our newsletter this year, we went digital, and if people want a copy, we'll send them. But you just call Mrs. Ramo at the office and we can send hard copies, but we're trying to limit that type of spending because you do it 3 times a year. That adds up.
So under the West Canada School site.
Yep.
It will say when the meetings will be.
Yes, as soon as you
Okay.
click on it, it'll post a week or 2 before.
Okay.
Any other questions, concerns?
We've talked about, oh, sorry.
Robert Batson from Poland.
Sure.
2 questions. Is this PDF going to be on your website Monday tomorrow?
This presentation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And next one is on the capital overall decrease, where you said the salaries, health insurance, retirement contributions. One of the last meetings, I can't remember if it was last one or one before that, your salary was just salary based alone. But on here, I see it's health insurance and retirement. So was that added?
It was added for
not-
more
was added-
clarification.
But was that number added, not just the description? Because the business official said last time was based just on salaries.
For the capital portion?
Yes.
No, that includes benefits. It always includes the benefits also.
Okay.
Maybe it was
I'm sorry,
also-
misunderstood.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
The biggest drop on that one was we had a bond payment that came off the books. That's what created most of that drop.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Do you have anything more?
Oh, sorry.
I think it'd be opportune, you've talked about a 5-year plan you're working on. Can you give us a bit of an overview?
Well, I think the 5-year plan, what we're working on through, we use Rick Tim's office, is to look at trends, whether it's enrollment or structuring within the district, and we have to continue to monitor, and that's gonna play a huge role in that 5-year plan to make sure that we're staffing accordingly. There's, again, needs and wants, and right now, we are all in needs. There can't be wants, yes.
You mentioned Dr. Tim, so does he have an idea based on both of the budgets, either the contingency or the reduced, on what next year's tax levy will be?
Right now, he had started off with a 15 and 8, but we know that's not understandable, like, it can't happen.
That was the one before
That
it was
was the
reduced.
15, but with these, it's going to be play it by having to see what teachers come, what teachers go through attrition. If we can save more money next year, will play a huge role in that, understanding our overall budget. So right now, because his recommendation was the 15%, that didn't fly. So we have to have more conversation with Dr. Tibbs. Which, understandable. And I had a conversation after it went down, and I told him that we needed to get it to single digits. And that's what we worked extremely hard to do. We thank you for your support.
So you have a lot of land?
Hmm?
You have a lot of land?
I have a couple acres.
Just the way you talk.
I have 2.
2 acres? 2 million acres.
Okay, thank you. And now on to our regular monthly meeting. Start with our admin. Well,
Good day.
sorry. We'll start with Ms. Melfi from the elementary side.
So, we have a lot going on through the month of June. We have a lot of special events going on this month. We have field trips, field day, special persons day, and our Flag Day ceremony that are all taking place. On June 11th, our pre-K and kindergarten students have been invited to, I call it the Little Red Caboose, it's in Poland, for our first annual end of the year ice cream celebration. So I'm excited to partner with them and to attend this event. On June 5th, we had a visit from the author and illustrator Daniel Jude Miller. If you look around, you'll see some things from that visit. It was held here. It was excellent. Students got to meet him, learn about his work. As an author and illustrator, they gained some insight into the creative process of writing and illustrating books. He was phenomenal, and the kids absolutely enjoyed it. On June 5th, so this spring, the Newport Volunteer Fire Department sponsored a safe battery charging poster contest for students. We had approximately 21 participants, and 4 of the participants were selected to ride to school in a fire truck, so that took place on Friday morning. And all the other students who participated received a small token of appreciation. They got a hat, a coupon for free ice cream, and they got a little breakfast treat. So there are pictures attached to your packet of that day. We hope to do this again. This becomes something that's annual, and we get more and more participation. But it was a great experience for the students. The last week of school, we will be holding another school-wide STEM Unity Day featuring many STEM activities. We're currently right now in the planning stages of that. In your packet as well, from our previous STEM activity, there's just a few pictures that took place. And really what that means is the students are given a task and they must engineer it and try the experiment to see if it works. So one class, they make airplanes to see how far they fly. They may get, one class will get popsicle sticks. They have to build a bridge and see how much weight it can sustain before it collapses. It's a lot of fun, and the students really enjoy it. Currently, we're still at 36 students registered for pre-K at the moment. Kindergarten, we're still at 48 students registered for the fall. We will be having kindergarten screening on June 17th for those students who did not attend our pre-K program. Right now, there are 9 of them.
What is screening, what does that
So
mean?
they just come in, we kind of get an idea of their skills and where they are. So we'll do some academic screening with them, just to kind of determine where they are when they come in. On June 23rd at 9:30 a.m., we will have our pre-K graduation. You should have received an invite in your packets. I'd like to invite everybody. And on the 24th will be the 6th grade moving up ceremony. They will both be held in our high school auditorium. I'd like to extend an invitation to everyone to please come. Our last day of school is June 25th for students in grades K through 6. What's special about that day? They participate in Meet Your Next Year's Teacher, which is kind of exciting at the end of the year. They can kind of go see their next year's classroom and teacher. And then dismissal will be at 10:30 that morning. The next part, there were a lot of questions after last board meeting, and I want to provide some additional updated information. So there was a question particularly regarding our 3rd grade reading proficiency levels. Those levels are indicated through our ELA assessment data. So I have some information on that, and I also included some information on our Renaissance Star data, which measures student growth in benchmark performance. So according to the New York State assessment data from the 24-25 school year, the 3rd grade proficiency rate of our students was 51%. Now, New York State sets the proficiency rate. The proficiency rate was set at 54, so we were 3 percentage points below the state proficiency rate. And we are continuing to work to increase that. Every year, New York State will set that rate, and it changes quite frequently. In addition to the New York State assessment data, we also utilize the Renaissance Star assessments, which are nationally normed local benchmark screening and progress monitoring tools to use to monitor student achievement, student growth, and instructional needs throughout the school year. So if you look at, I'm going to back up for a second. The New York State ELA assessment data, that was the 3rd grade cohort in 24-25. So that group is currently in 4th grade. I don't have this year's New York State assessment data that will be reported. Usually the kids just finished the assessments. So that gets reported to us like September, October, and that's when I bring it to you. But I can speak to right now using our 3rd grade cohort, using the STAR reading data that we currently have. So right now, with our STAR oral reading fluency, we have 73% of our students are at or above grade benchmark expectations right now. And with the oral reading fluency, it looks at accuracy, automaticity, and their reading rate. So are they fluently reading material? Because if they're fluently reading, then they're able to comprehend. If they're struggling with that fluency, then they're not comprehending what they're reading. Then our STAR benchmark, which really looks at more of the vocabulary, the word analysis, the comprehension. We have 56% of the students are at or above grade level expectation. We also look at our STAR growth, our student growth percentile, which our district benchmark is set at a 57% student growth percentile. 50% of our students happen to be meeting or exceeding those district growth expectations. So, I see right now we are moving in a positive direction. Students are growing and we are learning those foundational skills and we are slowly making progress. In your packets as well, I provided 2 longitudinal reports. One is of the current 3rd grade cohort, and it shows in 23-24, when they were in 1st grade, we did not have our new reading program. And during that year, we only had 35% of the students were at or above our benchmark expectations, were meeting benchmark expectations. In the 24-25 year is when we first implemented our new reading programs, such as Foundations, is the first year that second grade, that group in second grade received the Foundations. That jumped to 51% of the students were at or above grade level expectations. They made significant progress. This current year, they also increased, 56% of the students are at or above grade level benchmark expectations. So we are continuing to see progress, and with a new reading program, it takes a couple of years. You know, they're showing excellent progress. We're moving in the right direction. We still have work to go, and we're still gonna continue to strengthen those skills. But I wanted to share that. And on the second page is our current second grade cohort. So when they were in first grade was the first year they received Foundations. We were at 56% of the students were at or above benchmark expectations after 1 year of the Foundations implementation. This current year, they're in second grade. Now we have 80% of those students are at or above benchmark expectations. So that is a phenomenal program, and our students are responding to that. We are also looking at, we have multiple things that we are also still doing to support our students. So we have an MTSS team where we look at students and needs. So we address students' academic needs. We look at all performance data from classroom assessments, our STAR reading and CBMs, our teacher observation, and if it's a grade level that has a New York State test, we look at that assessment information to make instructional decisions and provide targeted support. So if we have kids that are struggling, we have small group reading and math instruction at various tiered levels, tier 2 and tier 3 supports.
Does it come down to one-on-one if required?
If needed, yes. I do have students that need a significant amount of help, and yes, it can be provided one-to-one if needed. We also, our tier 1 interventions, we've implemented, we have Foundations, Hegarty at the younger grade levels, and CKLA at our 3 through 6 grade levels, which we are currently in our second year of implementation right now. So we frequently monitor student progress to see how they're growing. We have teams that continually to work together to look at the data, to figure out where our students are struggling, what we can do differently to help those students become more successful. We have a variety of supports to help our students. We have a variety of teachers that work together to provide those supports. We are continuing to move in the right direction. We're making progress, and we continue to look at it and see what we can do better to support our students.
Can we follow them past, like on 4th grade, and see if it carries forward?
We can, yeah, over the years. So it's, that report, I believe you can see 5-year progression. So those are the 2 cohorts that have had the Foundations. And then this year's first grade, as they keep moving, they'll be the first ones to have it from kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and we'll continue to see.
Thank you.
What do you use for your readers in first and second grade for comprehension?
So we use, and I brought something, and I can share this with you, I'm just not finished working on it. We use geodes because it is designed, it's set up so 80 to 90% of the words in the text are either Foundations decodable, and they go right along with the Foundations, or they contain the trick words, which are they call it the sight words. The rest of the text is made up of the vocabulary, which is really used to develop the core knowledge or the background information. And I did a cross-linear connection between our CKLA and our geodes just to see, and really they have the same concepts. So they both do, like at kindergarten, CKLA does plants and animals. In geodes, it's nature and animals. Kindergarten does weather. In geodes, it does environmental themes. So they do cross so that kids are continuing to get that background information and that core knowledge built up. So we're
I'd be interested to see how the fourth graders, if you don't mind.
Sure, well, the fourth graders right now they only had, yes, so I can pull that information for you. And I can look back and see when the first time they got the new reading program. Sure.
We'll see a lot of that data in like November, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yep. So I can continue to pull that information, absolutely.
Yeah, I wanna see if it is a good foundation, carries forward.
Right, so every year they track that because it's a new curriculum, so they need to assess it to make sure it's doing everything that we want it to do, so they'll track the cohorts as they
Yes.
move through.
Good. I'll let you see. Very nice.
Any questions on that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, next on the agenda, motion to approve the consent agenda. Sarah first. Shannon second, all in favor? All in favor. Motion passed. Moving down, we have our discussion items.
Okay. So I want to say thank you for everybody for listening to the budget presentation. We will be hosting our budget revote on June 16th at 6 p.m. or from noon to 8 p.m. here in the lobby. We will also be doing senior walk that day in the afternoon, hoping to use the track, weather permitting. We talked a little earlier this year about M&T Bank and school tax collection. And M&T currently charges us roughly $6,000, and they had a software update that will not allow printing of receipts. And it seems like for that $6,000, we're getting less and less, and we're still paying the same. We can move that $6,000 in-house, pay our tax collector about $9,000 and do everything in-house and still save about $1,000. It's going to require a lot of work, but also it moves it to the school. It takes M&T, because right now M&T, we have to transfer the money out of M&T to MBT Bank, and it would just make more of a smooth transition across the board.
What's your opinion?
I would say move it in-house because it gives us more control. And it allows us, because sometimes you get duplicate payments, you get, because M&T here, things can get a little screwy from time to time. But transferring, we still see about $1,000 savings. We compensate our tax collector for going above and beyond now and being the sole person. But it would also give us a better way of tracking things. Any discussion? Anybody have anything? So we'll move from what I'm gathering, we will move the tax collection to West Canada, and we will pull out of M&T Bank. Thank you. Athletic Roundup. I'd like to congratulate all of West Canada student athletes throughout the school year. We had almost, I believe, all of our teams scholar.
Every single one of our teams is a New York State Public High School Athletic Association Scholar Athlete team. And what that means is you take 75% of your roster, and that 75% must average 90 or better. It's not happened since I've been here, so pretty proud of what they've done. I mean, they've excelled on the court and on the field, and they also excel in the classroom. So.
Yes. Yep. And it's a huge accomplishment. So, the boys baseball team finished last Monday, a heartbreaker to Beaver River in Utica in the Section 3 Class C baseball finals. So, we had the boys team go to the finals, the girls basketball team this year. We did see some success.
I would like to add to that, I went to both, and the community that are there, the teaching staff that's there, former coaches from different sports are there, and it's just really, really nice to see these kids being rooted on by everybody. I mean, the community really comes out and supports, and it's really nice to see that.
Speaks volumes of the community. Not being from the community, when I go to these sporting events and I see all the fans there,
Just that,
you
like,
know, the camaraderie.
yeah, it's very nice.
And then the 26-27 ex officio student board representatives. So next year, we will have 2 new seniors representing West Canada on the school board. We went with the 2 student, because things get in the way. You know, extracurriculars, things along those lines, they might not always be able to make it, and I felt like the rotation this year went well. Tonight, we do not have a student ex officio because they're on their way home from their senior trip. For the 26-27, how we go about this is usually Mr. Broadbent sends out an email. They don't come knocking the doors down. We also look at representation from academically, they're toward the top of their classes, things along those lines. Next year, we have Agathia Carriegan and Tegan Harvey, and they will be representing come September with an active role. I am going to change up the student officio a little bit more next year. I know this year, excuse me. Oh, thank you. This year it was kind of learning the process, but I think we can do more with it. Maybe leading up, like I do my pre-board meetings with the board president and vice president, having pre-board meetings with the ex officios to get more communication is what I'm looking for.
I think that's a good idea.
I do too.
So, and I've asked other superintendents what they do, and that seems to be something that, you know, it's, you can't be afraid to ask others what they're doing.
They will follow suit and be the BOCES term for West Canada also.
Yes. Yep. Anything else? I know
Yes.
Yes.
Got questions for Mr. Ray. Your summer runs, can you, one by one route to Webb, UCP, and Jarvis Middle School, what's that about?
Yeah.
So the Jarvis Middle School is the high school summer school. The Webb Complex is out of district special needs kids. And the UCP one is we have a special needs child that goes to Chadwick's.
Is transportation for summer school, is that a state mandate?
Under their IEPs, correct?
For the special ed, yes, but for summer school, like if they,
Right.
it is not
Okay.
where they could technically have to transport themselves. We offer it to allow our students the opportunity, because years ago, every school held summer school in their building.
Right.
Now they do regional, and a lot of our students wouldn't be able to
Sure.
go if they, but we do local stops. We don't stop at the house. There is a stop in Norway, there's a stop in Newport. Am I correct, Mr. Ray?
Yep.
Yes. And that's what it allows. They have to have some, they have to be able to get to those pickups and drops off.
What does regional mean?
Regional means that they're all of us in the BOCES region have a regional school, summer school, where all the kids go to one location from all different districts.
What is the process? I'm trying to understand. What's the process of kids apply for summer school?
No, it's students that don't pass and need to go to summer school in order to move forward in their studies. So it's a lot of our students that might have failed a class or two. It drops them behind and it puts them not on track to graduate.
Mhm.
So summer school sometimes is the only option to get them back on track.
Next on the agenda, I'm gonna ask a motion to enter executive, oh, no, I'm so sorry. We have, public questions, I'm sorry.
So, my name's Kath McCoy. I'm gonna try not to get emotional. I just want to educate some people. Ed asks great questions, and I'm not sure he understands the role of a teacher assistant at our school. And I feel like we have to get rid of them. I understand that, and but I want you to know that those are the people that touch our kids' lives. One of the ways that we use, that I in particular, and I teach second grade, so I try not to always put my teacher hat on when I'm here, but I can't help but do that today. One of the ways that I use teacher assistants, and often many of the teachers here use teacher assistants, is when Ms. Snowfree's talking about those reading groups that we have. We have very capable, very experienced TAs here that I actually, over 30 years ago, started as one here. But we design a lesson. If I've got 12 kids for a reading group, which I don't usually have that many, but if I have a large group of people, I get a lesson together. I'm the teacher. I make sure they know what I want them to do. Our TAs here are amazing at taking the lesson that teachers give them and doing the lesson for a group. Does that teacher have a teacher there? No, they have a teacher assistant, a very capable, experienced teacher assistant carrying out my plans for that group. But I just want to say that that we're getting rid of them, and I understand that, and I understand everybody's, oh, West Canada, West Canada. We've got all these teacher assistants. No other school has all these teacher assistants. And I've always said, I used to work at Mohawk for a short time, and everybody would say, why is West Canada so great? Like, what do they have that other schools don't have? Well, you know what they had? One of the great things they had were teacher assistants. And did we have more than other people? Yes, we probably did. But every one of those teacher assistants touches a kid. Mm-hmm. So, I'm blubbering, but I just want people to know, I know you have to cut, but I just want you to know the value of those people that you're cutting, and they will be one less touch on our students because we're cutting them.
And trust me, we factor all that in.
And like I said, I know you have to, but never have, I'm not sure that you, and I applaud you for always asking questions to understand what we do here. And most, I think everybody else knows what the teacher assistants do, and I wasn't sure you did. So I just wanted you to know that that's kind of in a nutshell from a teacher's point of view, which I get is a little, I've benefited for them for years, but that's what they do.
Well, your motion says it all, so thank you.
Thank you for tolerating me.
Okay, next on the agenda, a motion to enter executive session to discuss the review and appointment of employees, contract negotiations involving the WCB Teachers Association, and review of individual terms and conditions of employment contracts. At first, Janine second, all in favor? Motion passed.
Kathy,
Kathy, thank you.
thank you. Good job, Mike. Yeah.
back. Next on the agenda, we have our action items under personnel report. All right, a motion to accept the resignation for Carrie Little, elementary teacher, effective June 30th, 2026. Thank you, and welcome back. Lisa first, and second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. A motion to accept the resignation for Tracy Taylor, bus driver, full-time, effective May 21st, 2026. Sarah first, second, all in favor? Okay, motion passed. Motion to accept the resignation for Chloe Warmingham, middle school, high school registered nurse, 10-month, effective June 19th, 2026. Janine first, Shannon second, all in favor? All in favor? A motion to accept the resignation for Jennifer Karam, elementary teaching assistant, effective July 6th, 2026. You got Lisa first, Shannon second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. Motion to appoint Abigail Griffin, faculty mentor for Earth and Space Sciences, salary as per the WCBTA bargaining agreement, effective June 9th through the 2026-2027 school year. Sarah first, Janine second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. A motion to approve for tenure Eileen Lindsay in the tenure area of teaching assistant with an effective date retroactive to September 1st, 2025. Janine first, Shannon second, all in favor? All in favor? Motion to appoint Tracy Farber in the tenure area of teaching assistant effective September 1st, 2026. Shannon first, Janine second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. Motion to appoint Pamela Tomier to rescind recent appointment of substitute position as a teaching assistant until further notice due to retirement regulations and rules, effective June 9th, 2026. Elisa first, Ed second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. A motion to rescind Tina Sternberg for the recent appointment of substitute positions, account clerk, teaching non-certified, teaching assistant, aide, manager, custodian, until further notice due to retirement regulations and rules. Sarah first, Shannon second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed.
Question. Do we have to appoint the two student members? Okay.
We did last year.
Yep.
A motion to appoint Tegan Harvey as ex officio student, Board of Education member. Shannon first, Elisa second, all in favor? All in favor. And also to appoint Agathia Carriagina as the second ex officio student for the Board of Education. Janine first, Elisa second, all in favor?
I think we should give a thanks to the previous girls that were here.
Yes,
I think
thank
they did
you.
a fine job.
So we're very fortunate, and I think having student ex officios can help us with seeing things through students' eyes.
Okay, and then lastly, a motion to adopt a resolution to contract with Madison Oneida BOCES to provide broadband telecommunication services to the district. Sarah first, Judy second, all in favor? All in favor, motion passed. Okay, last on the agenda, we have announcements. On June 11th, we have our honors ceremony, invitation only, 5 p.m., at the high school auditorium. June 13th is the Dollarville Violet Festival Parade at 10 a.m. June 16th, last day of classes for middle school and high school. June 16th is the budget revote, 12 to 8 p.m. high school lobby. June 17th is the athletic ceremony, beginning at 5 p.m. at the high school gym. June 19th is Juneteenth, school and offices will be closed. June 23rd is the pre-K graduation at 9:30 at the high school auditorium. June 24th, 6th grade moving up ceremony, 9:30 a.m., high school auditorium. June 24th, elementary early dismissal at 11:30. June 25th, is last day of classes for elementary students. June 25th, elementary early dismissal at 11:30. And June 27th is commencement ceremony at 10 a.m. excuse me, 10 a.m. in the high school auditorium. And one last thing.
Here we are in June, and, you know, at the end of, this is somebody's last board meeting. Lisa, thank you for your service over the last 3 years. I know I've had to spend 2.5 of those years with you as a board member, and on behalf of the district and the board, we'd like to present you with a just token of our appreciation. And
Very nice.
very fortunate, and thank you for all your hard work.
It's been a great experience, it really has. I just, you know, I have 6 souls going through the school, so it was nice to be a part of their, you know, whole experience too, so, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your commitment.
Appreciate it.
Okay, a motion to adjourn?
Well, I have a question.
Any questions?
How did the band do at Sherburne?
They did first overall, I believe,
So first in parade.
parade.
First for color guard, first in small ensemble, third in concert band.
And I believe they got the 3rd highest score.
I don't know, I
for
missed
the-
that one.
Yes,
Okay.
but they did a wonderful job. If you'd like to see it, I took a video.
Well, I think there should be some recognition for
Oh,
the band.
absolutely.
I mean, we escort teams in and out of the villages, and we don't do anything for the band. They win every year.
And it
They're
shows.
tremendous.
This being my first year at Sherburne, it's very entertaining, number
Oh, yeah.
one, but the dedication across the board and the number of students that we had that partake, we had so many more students than some of the bigger schools. You know, I know a school that has 1,200 students, and they didn't have half the number of band participants that West Canada. If you'd like to see the video, I took it.
No, that's fine.
I set it to shape.
I've sat through that a few times.
And they'll be at the Violet Festival,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
next weekend. Didn't make that mistake again.
All right, a motion to adjourn. Ed first, Janine second, all in favor? Okay, thank you, have a good night.